My name is Pulkit, and I will be presenting very shortly, but we have a lot of registrations as always. So let's use this opportunity to get to know each other a bit better. I know a few people in the room, they've turned on their camera. I see you, Roland. I see you, Neil. Thank you for that. So what we're going to do is wait for a couple of minutes, but I'm going to go around the room and use this. So what I'm after is who you are, what you do, and what brings you here today. Neil, you have your hand up. How can I be of assistance? You may need to unmute yourself and speak, Neil. Otherwise, whilst Neil is figuring that out, let's get started with, say, Roland.
Good afternoon, all. Thanks, Pulkit, to inviting me and having me in this session. My name is Roland. I'm from GraceX, and we look after the employee psychological safety in the office environment. And I look forward to learn something new hack that we can apply. Currently, we are running under rebranding, so definitely I'm interested in what I can learn now.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Roland. Always a pleasure having you here, and thank you for your support. Wendy, if you can hear us, perhaps unmute yourself and feel free to talk. I think Wendy is.
Hello, I'm here.
Oh, there you go. Thank you for joining. So would you like to tell us who you are, what you do?
Okay, so I'm the owner of a boutique accommodation that's in the Central Tablelands of New South Wales.
Amazing. And what brings you here today?
I'm just trying to keep up with the impact that AI is having as much as anything.
Amazing. Awesome. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Wendy. Beatrice.
Hi, everybody. I'm Beatrice. I own a company called Lampack Consult, and I'm basically consulting for private line of cosmetics, or most of them are entrepreneurs that they want to try the market for the first time in the cosmetic industry, and I'm sourcing out packaging for them.
Right. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Beatrice. Let's give it a go one more time, Neil, if you can hear us. I think your video is moving. So can you hear us? You may need to unmute yourself. Whilst we're waiting for you, Neil, good to see you, Anna Maria. How are you? So what we are doing is we're doing simple introductions, who you are, what you do, what brings you here.
Okay, hi everyone. So I distributing and importing sugar-free drink powders, working with B2B and B2C. And yeah, it's always good to Pulkit helped me a lot in the beginning. And just some upgrade, Pulkit, I'm having 2 more websites, so I need to work with you on that one. The one that we had issue is on the side, so if we can chat for the.
That's all right. We'll get there. We will get there. Thank you for that, Anna Maria. Judy, how are you, Judy? Thank you for joining us. What we're doing is introductions, who you are, what you do, and what brings you here today.
Oh, hi. I'm Judy Hanavan, nutritionist and menopause coach. And I'm here today to learn all about the topic, which I forget now. It's all about links, backlinks.
Yep. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you for that, Judy. Neil, I see you have unmuted yourself. Is your audio working now? Can you give it a go? Because I see your hand up.
I'm having a bit of trouble with my computer.
That's all right. We all have one of those days.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Everything's
Anyway, I'm here to upgrade my skills a bit. I did a course in information technology, and I'm also a photographer. So
Yeah.
I've had a few clients that have asked me to build websites for them. So I decided to get back into it. And I'm just upgrading my skills a bit more to get in tune with the new technology. It's moved that rapidly. So that's pretty much where I'm at now.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Neil. Now I see Joy, you've just joined us. Lita, you've just joined us. Thank you for joining us. We're doing brief introductions, but we will need to get started very shortly. So let's keep this short, sharp, and brief. Joy, would you like to introduce yourself? You're on mute, Joy. Whilst we're waiting for Joy, Lita, would you like to have a go at introducing yourself? Okay. So both of you are on mute, so that's fine. We will come back to this, but feel free to unmute yourself. Feel free to. So I want to establish some ground rules with the webinars. First and foremost, this is our first webinar for 2026. So Happy New Year, everyone. And we look forward to doing the same like last year, one webinar every month. And the webinar is locked in on the first Tuesday of each month at 2 p.m. I like to take questions along the way. So if you have a question that is unclear, or if you'd like me to repeat something, feel free to let me know, unmute yourself or raise your hand. I will toggle in between screens, so we should be able to get there without any issues at all. On that note, I will be sharing my screen. You should be able to see my screen now. If you have troubles with the audio or video, feel free to put it in the chat box or in the Q&A box or unmute yourself. So today's topic is digital PR for AI search, backlinks that earn visibility, not just in Google and Bing, which is traditional SEO or traditional search engines, but also in LLMs like your Geminis, your AI overviews, your ChatGPTs, your Perplexities. Once again, this is not a sales webinar. I will not try to sell you anything. But one thing that I would like to clarify, all the stuff that we share in our webinars is the stuff that we use in our agency for our client work. This is not something I'm not going to hide something, or I'm not going to withhold any information. This is the stuff that we use in our client sites on a daily basis. Before we begin, your digital acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which the webinar is run on, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present, and future. Your digital also extends that respect to Aboriginal people present today. A little bit about ourselves. We are a multi-award winning digital marketing agency with a primary focus on SEO, GEO, and ASO, and we do done for you and consulting services. A little bit about myself. If you are meeting me for the first time, I see a lot of familiar faces. But if you're meeting me for the first time, I've been working in this space for over 18 years. By education, I'm a qualified network engineer. I build my own drones, and I like to call myself a monopoly property investor. A judge for the top 50 small business leader a couple of years ago, certified practicing marketer myself, top 50 small business leader and top 20 Australian digital marketer to work with a few years ago, SEO advisor for the federal government funded Digital Solutions Program, a guest author for Inside Small Business, SEMrush, Entrepreneur.com, and many other publications. And I also volunteer my time for the World Literacy Foundation. Again, the ground rules. Please feel free to unmute if you would like to talk. Otherwise, please stay on mute. Raise your hand or unmute yourself. And if you like something, or if you'd like to ask a question, raise your hand or clap if you have a great point raised. Again, welcome back from the holidays. School's back on yesterday. We are back on today. So let's get kicking with some killer SEO. Understanding backlinks. Now, I want to go around the room and just quickly a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you understand the importance of backlinks, or if you've heard the term backlinks, if you know what do they do, what is the importance of the backlinks. Thumbs up or thumbs down is good. I see you, Roland. See the chat box as well. Maybe some people are commenting on the chat. Okay, Okay. So, what actually are backlinks? Now, in simpler terms, a backlink is a link to your website that is posted on somebody else's website. Plain and simple. A link that is posted on somebody else's website. For example, I own the website yourdigital.com.au. I know Roland's website is gracex.io. So if I link from my website to Roland's website, it is considered a backlink for Roland's website. For me, it is an external link. For Roland, it is an incoming link. What this does is when search engines like Google or ChatGPT or your LLMs or your traditional search engines or your LLMs, they look at these links. They think of that as a trustable reference, as a vote of confidence, and they are more keen of giving you a bit more value. So a little bit of my value gets transferred over to Roland's website. In simpler terms, good quality backlinks equals credibility, digital credibility when it comes to online presence. Now, why are backlinks important? They are important for off-page optimization, which is the third pillar of SEO. It also boosts your website authority. You may have heard of terms like domain authority, page authority. All of those, they come from backlinks. Google may use it internally, but they have never clarified it. It definitely improves your search rankings. It also increases your organic traffic. It strengthens your brand reputation, and you also have a chance of getting mentioned in LLMs. So we're gonna ignore this slide because I want to cover something very important, but it's just about what type of methods. Actually, this might be good. Is anyone using any of the methods mentioned on the screen? Is anyone using any one of those methods right now? That's fine. I mean, there is no right or wrong answer. If you are, you are. I used to do it. Okay. I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with any of these methods, but the only issue with any of these methods is that these are very expensive processes. Some of these processes are very expensive. You're sending generic outreach emails via for hoping for a link. The conversion rate is 0.1%. So if you're sending 1,000 emails, then your chances of getting a backlink is very, 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 very low for the amount of effort that you invest in. Guest post, Google did a big crackdown a few years ago with guest posts. So they have little value. They are still valuable if you are able to do it on industry publications. They are still very valuable. Link swap, Google is very aware of it. So Google has taken a lot of measures on that. And directories, I don't know why people still submit to directories, but they are of no use at all. If you're using Google Business Profile, that's about it. You don't need to be anywhere else. Right. Anyways, we're going to move, skip over to that one because we've covered that one. Now, how to get backlinks faster? Obviously, the tool is digital PR that we use. We build before building high quality organic backlinks. So I'm going to show you some strategies which we cover in our agency to identify link opportunities, and then how you can use it to leverage for your own advantage. It may get a bit complicated, but don't worry about it. You will get a copy of the recording. You will get a copy of the slide deck. So please follow along. And when you get a recording, you can pause, do the actions, and you can actually measure it on your own end as well. So, yeah, the new era of backlinks. Identifying the sources. Now, this is very important. Now, many people think of PR as submitting a press release. Now, I'll tell you what, we've got Georgia in our team. She's a journalist, and every single day when She was working as a journalist for mainstream media. Every single day, she used to get hundreds of emails every day sent out to her. So how is your story going to stand out? Most PR models are designed around sending one press release each month. It's not going to work, and that is why it's designed to fail. That only works for larger corporations because they have a lot of data to report and it affects a lot of people. Now, the method that I am going to show you, it relies on publicly available data. I'm going to repeat this term, publicly available data. Your data could come from government databases or government sources like Australian Bureau of Statistics. It could come from energy reports. It could come from private sector reports, and it could come from industry studies and white papers. I will give you a couple of examples as well. We relied on so this is for a real life example we did for Realize Business about this is January, February. So about 4 months ago, back in 30th of just in September of 25, when the government decided to cut the funding for Business Connect program. So what we did was, and Realize Business engaged us to do digital PR. And with that digital PR, we relied on a report that the government had commissioned in 2020 with Accenture, which is publicly available. And then we were able to use snippets of that information to come up with data to support our argument in why government should continue the funding for Business Connect. And that got us onto Channel 7. It got us onto TV, it got us onto print, it got them onto radio and a host of other, it got AFR and Smart Company and tons of other backlinks. So relying on data, anything with numbers is mind-blowing with the press. Now I want to give you an example. So say for example, again, I'm picking on you, Roland, here, because you're on the first one on my screen. So hence the pick. I hope you don't mind me doing that. But the idea that I'm trying to say here, say in case of Roland, okay, so Roland, could you, for the sake of the audience, could you tell us a little once more what your company does, GraceX?
Yes, so we help for the 20 to 200 employees companies to prevent the psychological injuries in their team and improve the employee engagement that helps to reduce the churn, absenteeism, and presenteeism. So, for example, in this case, one really fancy number I think could be is in New South Wales 2024, an average psychological injury claim was $288,000 and 37 weeks an average off from work.
Perfect. Now that's the story. If you send that story, I guarantee you will get onto the press within 24 to 48 hours. That number that you said, $288,000 and 37.5 weeks. And then if you are able to connect it with productivity loss, if you're able to connect it with revenue loss, if you're able to connect it with dollar value loss, all of a sudden you will have a great digital PR campaign that you can run. So that's the value in numbers. Numbers always work, always work. So, but with your number, you want to make sure that your data is relevant, your data is up to date, and it is unique to your industry. Now, how to find sources that AI is looking at. Now, this is something that we use internally quite heavily. So since I am sharing my screen, I am going to show you something, but I want to know how many of you have a subscription to ChatGPT, paid subscription. Does anyone have a paid subscription to ChatGPT? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, so this method works perfectly fine if you are using a paid version of ChatGPT. Now follow the steps. That's fine, Wendy, if you don't have it. I'm not going to tell you to get it or to not get it. That's a decision you need to take. But the method that I'm going to show you, we use a paid version and hence it comes up like this. So give me would anyone like to volunteer and give me something that I can search on ChatGPT? This is my logged in licensed account. I just want to make sure that I'm looking at the right one. Yeah. Okay, give me a search term that actually triggers a web search. And I want to take the audience here. Put it in the chat box or tell me and I'll do it. It needs to trigger a web search on ChatGPT.
Can I say it?
Anyone can say it.
What to do in the Capertee Valley?
Okay, what to do in which valley, I'm afraid?
The Capertee, Capertee Valley.
Capertee Valley. What to do in Capertee Valley, correct?
Correct.
Amazing. So I'm going to do a search. Let's see if it triggers. Okay, it is searching the web, which is great. This is exactly what we want. Okay, now I see your questions as well, Roland. If time permits, I will do that as well. And also Beatrice, yours one as well. Now, I did a search for what to do in Capertee Valley. Now you will see this string, which is a fancy string of numbers in the address bar. All you want is the first bit, which is in my case 698.1699A, that fancy number. You want to copy that number, and then I'm using Chrome as a browser on purpose. Then what you want to do is go into the hamburger menu icon, go to more tools, and then go to developer tools. Once you go to developer tools, there will be multiple tabs like this. Don't worry about it. You want to click on the network tab. You want to remove, you will see something like this. And you want to paste the number that we copied earlier in this filter button. And then what you have to do is hit refresh on your browser. Once you hit the refresh button, you will start to see multiple files that appear over here. Now, what you want to do is you want to start clicking on each one of them to see the type of data that we are getting. I'm just trying to identify the right one. Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Control A on my computer since I'm using a Windows. I'm going to copy that data. And then because it's very hard to read in that screen, I'm going to put that data in a notepad document so that I can actually review it. So this is the actual data that I'm looking at. Now, if I scroll all the way, oops, wrong one. You want to go page up, so Control Home, perfect. So this was the search things to do in Capertee Valley. Now, most of the data is junk, so you need to ignore it. But once you keep on scrolling down, you will start to see some searches here. See what ChatGPT is searching on the web. Things to do in Capertee Valley, Australia, Capertee Valley, New South Wales, attractions, activities, hiking, wildlife lookouts, things to do in Capertee Valley, tours attractions. So these are the query fan out. You may have heard that term query fan out on for AI and LLMs. This is how you will be able to find out when you do a search, what is the LLM actually looking for on the web. So if a simplest one is if you want to rank for this keyword, which is things to do in Capertee Valley, you should rank for all three of them over here for the fan out. Now, if I keep on going down, now this is where things become very interesting. So some of these results are coming from visitnewsouthwales.com. You can see that. So Lithgow, Visit New South Wales, National Parks, NSW National Parks website. Then we've got again NSW National Parks. Then we've got TripAdvisor. And if I open up my ChatGPT again, you will be able to see it from here. So some of this data is coming from NSW National Parks. This is from TripAdvisor. This is from TripAdvisor as well. So this is all the search results that ChatGPT has actually used. And then if you keep on going down, okay, so we've got Ella's list here as well. We've got Qantas as well. And I think this one is coming from, yeah, so the Qantas, there is a result from Wikipedia also. All right, now see this one here. This is coming from the Australian.com.au. This is a digital PR mention. So about Sunwale at Turon Gates, a luxury retreat it's a news story about glamping tent in Kapiti Valley. Then if you, again, it's the Australian. Then if you go down, again, Adelaide Now. Now, so these are the actual results that are curated over here. But you will, yes, you can see all of those results here. Yeah. Now see this, the type of data that even though these results are not quoted, secretsydney.com, secretsydney.com, visit New South Wales. Again, visit New South Wales, secretsydney.com, which is again a publisher, Secret Sydney. National parks, what else do we have here? TripAdvisor, AustralianCycletours.com.au, top things to do and see and do in Kapiti Valley. So this is exactly how you find out if you would like to rank for this in LLM. You need to make a list of all of these and start making sure that you get cited in any one of these articles. Simple. This is what LLMs are looking at. These are backlinks. This is real life example. Any questions? I know this is complicated. Does anyone have any questions? Or maybe it is not complicated.
So just a technical question, Pulkit. How can you use, so yeah, you can see all the lists, you can like collecting into like a spreadsheet or something, and after that, what's the best technique to actually start using? Now you know this information, what can you do with it?
Okay, so the first thing that you want to do, the number one thing that you want to do is the type of, what you want to analyze is what is LLM looking at. You will be able to get a very good idea of what the LLM is looking at once you start collecting that list in a spreadsheet. If you want to go deeper analysis, having a read of the articles will give you a deeper understanding of what the LLMs are looking at also. Then what you want to do is there are chances, say for example, if I take any article, say for example from, this is the Australian Cycle Tours TripAdvisor, no, where is the Australian? Secret Sydney, say for example, this one, which is secretsydney.com, Kapiti Valley, world's second largest canyon. Now this is talking about the canyon, but then again in this one, there was the other one from Secret Sydney, which is, this is Visit New South Wales. Yeah, so world's second largest canyon. I think that's the. Now what Wendy is, she runs a boutique accommodation. So she may be able to approach the journalist who is actually writing about that article on Secret Sydney and just update their article with the journalist will happily do it. They will happily do it to prepare an exhaustive list and she can get a backlink straight away. It's as simple as, it could be as simple as that. Now, the other thing that you can find out is who are all of the people who are writing about that particular area or travel or accommodation related stuff, and you can actually hit those journalists separately as well. So there are multiple things that you can actually do using this. Is the type of information that you may want to post on your website that you can actually send it out to the journals and you can use that information. I hope that answers your question, Roland.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
Which is most of those articles have been written without actually getting local references. So if you're doing something for your own business, your own industry, and you see things are wrong, it's a great approach, which is what I'm considering doing here. We're not the second largest canyon in the world, for instance. There's no such thing.
There you go.
Yeah, and a lot of them are not actually talking about inside the Kapiti Valley, everything else around it. Well, so there's lots of opportunity.
Yep, that is a great PR campaign, and I would recommend you do it. I think you should do a blog post on your website what most sites get wrong about Capertee Valley.
Absolutely.
I think that's what you need to do, and then send it off to the press.
Mm-hmm.
Why all
Good
the
idea.
information about Capertee Valley is incorrect on the web, and you will get cited in LLM because that's a differing opinion.
Yep.
Right. Thank you for sharing that, Wendy. In the interest of time, let's just keep on cracking on. So, a lot of these sites, a lot of these talk about all of these things only, but I want to again, we've covered this in extensive detail. And this is what I have just shown you how to do it. The slide deck gives you all the references, so that's great to look at. Now, the next important step, and this is something which we also touched upon a little bit today, which is finding a compelling angle. For example, in your case, Wendy, the compelling angle is that Capertee Valley is not the second largest canyon. That's a compelling angle in itself. In case of Roland, the angle was the $288,000 or 37.5 weeks of productivity loss. That's an angle by itself. That's it. That's an angle by itself. I'll give you a couple of other examples, and I'm going to touch upon one of the examples earlier, but I want to share one example that we are very proud of that we've done in our agency. And that one is called Greenest Suburbs. Now, what that means is that campaign was done 2 years ago. Traditionally, if you go to any government agency, if you go to anyone, and if you ask them how green my suburb is, they're going to tell you based on the tree cover. So that's a measure of green by the government. So what we did was back in the 2 years ago when we were working with a solar franchisor, we gave a new definition to the term green by renewable energy, not by green by tree cover. So city of Sydney can never become green because it's all full of buildings, apart from the Hyde Park. So the point is we gave it a new definition. So that's a compelling angle. So find what that angle looks like is something that you will need to decide. I would like to highlight one more thing. This is a campaign that we did about last year or the year before. I can't know, not 2025, 2024, late 2024. And this is for a client that was launching a UPS. It's a refrigerator that can hold vaccines, and it was UPS, so it was temperature controlled refrigerator. So for that, how we were able to come up with a compelling angle was 400, and this is the story, $400 million in lost government funds annually, something like that. So I can't remember the exact one, but how did we come up with that number of $400 million was we found out the amount of money that the Australian government spends on vaccines each year and the amount of money that gets lost every year due to cold chain failures. And we were able to do a simple math and come up with that number that Australian government loses $400 million annually just because of cold chain failures. And then we were able to pitch how you can fix it using the vaccine fridges. So that's the idea behind finding a compelling angle. If your subject line says Australian government loses $400 million annually, it is going to get opened. Journalists cannot delete it. They are going to open it, plain and simple. And that's what your compelling angle looks like. And you want to obviously build a pitch and perfect pitch, which is with a headline and a hook, including supporting facts, figures, infographics, super important. Anything to do with tables, graphs, fancy numbers. And it's not about what is there in the report. It's about what is your interpretation of the data. It's not about what is there in the report. It's about how you interpret that data. That's the most important bit. Okay, so Anna Maria has a question. Okay, so Anna Maria asks, is it possible that someone actually using blogs to divert customers? So not directly from your website, but what they could be doing is they could be using their blogs to boost their rankings up. And if your domain names are very similar, then the chances are that the customers, as an end user, the customer may not realize that the business that they are buying from is not yours. So the long answer is yes. The short answer is not directly. I hope that answers your question, Anna Maria. Now, another question that we get asked all the time: how do you outreach to the right media? Now, there are three. Put it this way: there are three ways to do it. One of the ways to do it is by sending an email to the journalists directly. It's a slow, painful process. It's doable. I'm not disputing that. It's doable. But it's not necessary that the story you send to a journalist, they're going to pick it up. They may or may not pick it up. So you want to send it to a bulk of people. You want to send it to print, you want to send it to radio, you want to send it to TV, because all of them have different producers and they have different, sometimes there is a crossover as well. So you may be able to use it. However, most of these journalists' information is available on the web for free. Some require a bit more hunting, whereas some are easier to find. Like Sydney Morning Herald, super easy to find. Daily Mail, they hide it they make it really difficult to find their journals. It's still doable, because I can tell you one thing about the PR space or the digital PR space, that most journalists, most journalists are freelancers. A handful of journalists are only the ones that are actually working at the agent at the publication. Most of them are freelancers. So they have their own business on the side. So it's very easy to find their personal information and their email address. Most of them are on LinkedIn. Most of them have their email address through their personal websites. Super easy to find. Or you can use a service like Muckrack or MediaNet. Muckrack is more American. So if you're looking at overseas acquisitions or overseas media, then Muckrack is probably a better suited one for you. It's a bit pricier. We use MediaNet internally. Again, it's not the cheapest, but heaps cheaper than Muckrack, because when we are sending out press release, we are sending out the releases, we are sending it out to hundreds of journalists at one time, and we can focus on industry and topic. The other thing, and I always give away something that you can take away today and apply it on your business today. If you have not heard of Source Bottle, again, I'm going to put it in the chat box for the sake of everyone. If you have not heard of Source Bottle, I would highly recommend that you sign up to Source Bottle as a source. Okay. So you sign up to Source Bottle as a source. They send a media call out twice in a day, Monday to Friday. One is at around 10:30 a.m. and the other one is at around between 2:30 to 3 p.m. So they send a media call out. The challenge that these journalists have is that they are short of sources. And this is your great opportunity to swoop in and get a great backlink for your business, which boosts your visibility and credibility straight away. The moment you see something which is relevant to your industry, swoop in, and chances are you may end up with a backlink. We've had plenty of instances where we have collected hundreds of backlinks for our clients using Source Bottle. So that is a reactive version. Somebody is asking for something and you are reacting to it. Whatever we covered on earlier, that was a proactive version of digital PR. Both of them are valid versions. Again, the unreliability of Source Bottle is that if nobody is looking for that information, there is no call out. Whereas in the proactive one, you are the one generating the call out. So amplify the story. We all heard about this. So I want to share about this. I want to share this case study, a particular case study, which is something that we did for. We've done multiple ones, but this is just one story that I'm sharing, which is we did for forward travel. Now, what they do is so it's a travel consultancy, and what do they actually do? They take people to roads less traveled. So say, for example, if you want to go to America for a holiday, they won't take you. But if you want to go to Afghanistan or Iraq for holiday, they would take you. So it's a very difficult one. Like, so we've got 9, 10, 12 people in the room. How many of you want to go to Iraq or Afghanistan for a holiday? Exactly. I see you, Roland. Exactly. So the space is very niche. It's very, very, very narrow. And how do you generate mass for a business like that? It's extremely difficult. But I'm going to show you this campaign. It's a very creative campaign, in my opinion. We again gave the term dark tourism. It's called dark tourism. Now, in a nutshell, the objective was to generate high quality organic backlinks, increase their visibility in a highly competitive market, and obviously increase their authority. And their target audience was seasoned travelers over 55 and travelers looking beyond mainstream tourism. So, step number one, how do we find out how do we find out the data? So this is how we find out the data. Is it department? No. Yes, DFAT, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and Department of Home Affairs and Australian Border Force, they publish a data for every Australian leaving Australia, in what age group, they went to which destination, and what was the purpose of their visit. It is a publicly available data source. Okay, so we downloaded that Excel spreadsheet from the Border Forces website. And then we filtered, since the target market was over 55, we filtered them to the age group of over 55. And then we chose the destination as a holiday, not visiting family and friends. The destination was holiday. And then we took out a list of all the countries that Australians had traveled to in actual numbers for holiday who were over 55. And that we were able to do it for 4 years in a row. So we were able to do it for pre-COVID and post-COVID comparisons as well. Even though the numbers were not large, but we were able to see the trends. If we were able to exclude the travel lockdown years, which we did, the numbers were massive. We were able to see some clear trends in which countries are improving and which countries are declining when it comes to Australians visiting for a holiday. The countries were ranked based on annual tourist footfall. So the angle was, we reframed the destinations often linked with war, tragedy, or conflict through a more thoughtful and cultural lens, which is dark tourism. We positioned it as a way to understand history, honor memory, and explore places beyond headlines. So one of the reasons that we asked our client was, why would somebody want to go for Iraq for a holiday or Afghanistan for a holiday? So the answer actually kind of surprised me, because I was like, no, I don't want to go there. But he's like, a lot of people have actually served in those places, conflict regions, and their parents want to visit the places where their children have served. A lot of like, put it this way, with the Russia-Ukraine war going on for a long time and all of the conflicts, there are so many journalists traveling to that destination. People don't talk about this, but we were able to identify all of these. And we tapped into a genuine human curiosity around places shaped by major historical events without sensationalizing them. So travelers were drawn to places that were connected to history, loss, and resilience, even they don't openly label as dark tourism. So we positioned them as specialists in immersive and unconventional travel. That was the pitch. Highlighted specific destinations with compelling cultural angles. Why Iraq was growing up, why Afghanistan was growing up, or why the US is going down or why the Europe is going down, and balanced intrigue with safety and credibility. Obviously, we used MediaNet for journalist outreach, media did and their media databases to identify relevant reporters. Now, this campaign, we were able to secure, I don't even remember the number of backlinks or the coverages that we secured, but we had coverage in Australian media, international media. We had coverage in US, Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, including the New York Post, the Leader, Travel Bulletin, and news.com.au as well, all with a backlink. This campaign was covered in Vietnam, Bulgaria, Iraq, Australian sites, New York Post, India, and some other sites as well. So the point that I'm trying to make here is it's not difficult. This is something that is easily achievable. The first time you may find it a bit difficult, but it is still doable. It's actually possible for you to actually get it. So this is another example of amplifying the story. Now, one of the things, and again, I want to circle back onto the timeline of how it works. Identify the data, find the data. The first thing that you need to do is find the data. Take a step back, think about your industry, and think about what are the data sources that I can identify. Is there any data available to what I'm working in? That's, for example, Judy said that she is a nutritionist. Is that correct, Judy? Perfect. So Judy said that she's a nutritionist. So perfect. There are plenty of data sources, Judy, which you can rely on straight away. Now, what is your interpretation of the data? This is something that you will need to figure out. However, you may want to link it to obesity. You may want to link it to you may want to link it to health. You may want to link it to find some correlation. And all of a sudden you will see that there is huge amounts of data that you can rely on. Whilst I am actually sharing my screen, I'll actually show you something else as well. So I'm not sure if you have seen ABS's website or not, but the amount of data that ABS publishes is massive. And all the agencies itself, they publish. I'll tell you one more story. And that story is the reason we did a story about 2 years ago. There was a lot of talking in the media about how Australia is facing the housing crisis. And there's still a lot of talk about how Australia is facing the housing crisis and da-di-da-di-da-di-da. But to build, and the government said we're going to build 20,000 or 30,000, whatever that number is. But they cannot build that house without council approval. Without the DA approval, it's not going to happen. So we found the data source of the average number of days it takes in New South Wales for each council to process a DA application. And then we name and shame the councils. It got published in AFR, and New South Wales government took down that data source because of our story. But that's a different take. So that's not there. But if you look at some of the statistics, there are some really good there are some really good statistics that you can actually rely on when it comes to now. Again, Judy, if you look at well-being, you will be able to see a lot of statistics: overall life, health, security, prosperousness, cohesive sustainability. You will be able to see a lot of these statistics, and they are updated all the time. How do you interpret which one applies to you? This is something that you will need to think of. And you may be able to use the life expectancy data. You may be able to connect it, see the amount of information. So, so 70 increase from, so life expectancy actually, yeah, so it actually increased, the life expectancy actually increased. So, you may be able to connect it with data sources, you may be able to use reliable information, and all of this is available. Sometimes what happens is these are available in downloadable Excel spreadsheet. Let's see, it's relying on a data source on this one here, which is from Timomin Sergey. So if you open this one, you will just be able to find out from the Lancet article. It's a rabbit hole, but it's a few hours worth of exercise, and you'll still be able to get that data source. There you go. Socioeconomic inequalities. That's your data source right there. Again, for business, there could be something else. So you publish, you identify the data, come up with a numbers or story, put it up on your website. The number one rule is you need to put it up on your website. Your blog post, or it could go in a blog post, it could go in a separate page itself. It needs to go on your website, plain and simple. If it's not on your website, the journalists are not going to link to your homepage at all. So how the backlinks work is they link to the story, and the story is sitting on your website, which feeds onto your website. And that's how you get the credibility. So it needs to sit on the website. Once you've done the website, then you push it out to pitch to people, and then you push it out to the journalists and wait for the phones to ring or the emails to ring. Now, one more thing, I want to give you a little heads up. When the journalists call, when they want something, there's two things I've learned being in digital PR for 2 years. Journalists are restless. Journalists are lazy. They want a quote today because the story is going out in 5 minutes. So they won't wait. If you're not the source, they are going to call the next source, ask for their quote, and gone. They will be happy to give you a backlink. They will be happy to put your name. They will be happy to put your company name. They will be happy to do all of those things. But if you're not answering, then it's not going to happen. So that's a gist of what you can do. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Question from Karen, which is any suggestions for data sources, area of women leadership and careers. Okay, so this is a very, okay, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So for this, what I do is I always use a browser, and I've said it many times in many of my webinars in the past. I'm going to close that browser and I'm going to start going into this data. So how it works is you want a clean browser that does not have your history, because you don't want your search results to be distorted. So I would do a search for women leadership data set. Again, this is a good example. So this is a government organization, number one. Then you have some data from the World Bank. Then you also have some data from Department of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet in Australia. You also have some data from UN. There you go. 19.4% of all CEOs are women. Now, this data, given that it is already available, now see this, the business case Gender Equity Insights series. It was taken by Bankwest Curtin Economics Center. If you look at this one, and if you're able to find, there you go, this is a 26 megabyte report right here. You can download this report. Whilst that report is coming up, now again, we have a lot of, see this, you can access this data as a CSV format. You can also access this data as a data bank. Now you could use a comparison. Now here is an angle for you, Karen. If the UN leadership says, I don't know how many It says females with 19 point firms with female top manager by income group percentage of 19.1%. And what is WGA telling us? It is telling us 19.4%. So 0.3% Australia is better. Now this, I'm not sure whether this is the right number or not. I need to actually read it too, but this is exactly how you need to find the data. I was able to, there you go. There is another trick, Karen. If you don't want to read this stuff, watch my webinar from last year in September. If you did not register for it, happy to share the recording. But watch that webinar. That will tell you exactly how you can interpret the data using Notebook LM as well. So this is a great report for you to great data source. Then what do we have? We have something from the Department of the Karen. I hope that answers your question. Because in the interest of time, I really need to keep going. Otherwise, I will go over. So obviously the results, we've spoken about the results. The impressions grew from this to this. So the 8,000 impressions from 0 and clicks 350 clicks in less than 30 days. Right. So backlinks are very important. Old school methods don't work. Digital PR is the future. The 5-step formula: identify the data, come up with an angle, post it on your website, write the story, build a pitch, target the right media, and amplify the story. So here is what is going to happen tomorrow. You will receive a copy of the slide deck and recording sent via email. Kindly check your spam or promotions folder. Please do take a moment. It will have a link for you to submit your feedback. It is most valuable to us and me personally. There will also be an invitation to register for next month's webinar. And if you have not seen already, we were very busy during the Christmas break in revamping our website. So please do take a moment to review our website. It is not 100% perfect yet, but it is 95% there. And we are actively working on fixing all the minor gaps that we are able to identify. But any feedback, good, bad, or ugly, it will be humbly accepted. So we've got a few minutes left, and I'm happy to take any questions from anyone about anything that I may have spoken about. So no questions. Thank you, Roland, for your kind comments, and also Beatrice. There is a Q&A. Whilst I'm actually waiting, I may actually pull this slide up. So next month, we are going to be talking about how to get cited in AI fast. Now, when I say cited, I want to give you an example. This just before the webinar, 1 hour before the webinar, at around between 11 to 12 today, I was posting some content for our client website. And so I published 3 pieces of content. By the time I published the first one, and then, sorry, by the time I published the second one, the first one was ranking first rank on both Google and Bing. By the time I finished the third one, the second one was already ranking number 1 on Google and Bing. By the time I finished my lunch, the third one was also ranking number 1 on Google and Bing. So what I'm trying to say here is there is a method to the madness. It does not have to take 300 years. There is a method to the madness. You nail the method. It's all about the details and the data. So, but I'm going to talk about all of that in deep detail. Ankit from our team is here, and he writes a lot of content. So his content ranks in minutes, along with some technical stuff that we take care of. But that's what we are going to talk about next month, is how to get cited in AI fast. The QR code is on your screen, standard process that you follow. All right, so we've got 1 more minute. Any questions, anyone? No questions. Looks like, can I ask you to give me a call 2 minutes? Thanks. Sure, I will. I just need to have some water, take a break, and then I'm going to give you a call, Anna Maria. I attended one of your sessions about updating schema on rank math. Is this so? Schema? Yes. Schema helps understanding. So Karen, schema does help understanding LLMs. It does help understanding, but that webinar is not going to be about just schema. It's about how all of the processes come together to improve your rankings, improve your appearance in AI. So it's not, schema is going to be one part of it. And when I'm talking about the webinars, we don't talk about one platform. Rank Math is only available on WordPress. We talk about all platforms because schema is uniform, be it your WordPress, or be it your Shopify store, or be it your any other platform your website is built on. I hope that answers your question, Karen. Right. So since nobody has any questions, follow. If you're not already, please do follow us. We love our followers. It makes me sleep well at night. LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever your platform your choice is. I go home and I tell my wife, we got 5 followers today. And then I sleep well at night. Thank you once again for joining. I'm very respectful of your time. Thank you once again. Good luck with everything. And if you run into any questions, you know where to find me. If not, I will make sure that you have that information. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you. And see you again next month.